All right, guys, what's going on? We have a lot to talk about, a lot going on. It is Thursday, July 16th, 10:15 a.m. Here in Sydney, Australia, wherever you are in the world, I say welcome. As you're tapping in, like the video. Let me know where you're coming from. Let me know if you have any questions. If you're not in our Discord, do that now. August 1st will be 1 year. We're at like 542 JSB insiders, which is amazing. We're approaching 550. Next milestone, 600. We're a growing community. It's not just boxing, it's a professional sports betting community. Within there, you'll meet a lot of, every channel has somebody who knows what they're talking about. So for all the JSB insiders who are joined on Patreon or YouTube, check the members posts section. There's at least 5 tickets that are live. I've given you a dog in the UFC. I've given you a dog in boxing. We've already hit a dog. We hit 2 days ago the Japanese underdog, Kajino at plus 170. Continuing our run. We've just been killing it week after week. There's a lot of fights this weekend we're going to get into. The big card is Pacheco versus Aleem. You should know my lean on that. What I'm going to do, though, is, and this will be week 2 of me doing this, just trying out new things. I'm going to give you guys on the live stream. I'm not going to post this ticket in the Discord. I'm not going to post this ticket in the Patreon. It's only getting posted here. So if you're watching this video on the live stream and you want to follow along on this parlay, feel free. If you're seeing this once it's uploaded and you happen to catch it, feel free to tail. I already have action on this. It's an 8-leg. It's a kind of a moonshot. Shout out to my boy Youngin. He's a JSB insider. Would you call this is a plus 1600 8-leg, bit of a moonshot. It's more of a fun parlay to keep you interested all week. I'm going to go over it. It is a 8-leg money line plus 1600 parlay. 100 will get you $1,600. Okay? I put 100 on this. Little sprinkle. 100 will get you $1,600. Whatever your bankroll is, do the math. $10 will get you $160. I'm going to go over it real quick, and then we'll get started. Just so you know, it's 8 legs plus 1600. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just sharing this, because I don't want you guys to say when this hits. I know people will be in the Discord. I didn't see you post this. I'm gonna be like, no shit. I got to give content to everybody who supports. I just can't put all my bets behind, our Discord. So we'll go over this right now, and we'll do it together. So I want to start with that. I'm going to take the link to join. Just join, and then I'll send you the Discord link. We're going to go over this now, and pick and choose if you like. You don't have to follow me here. So I'm taking, and this isn't getting posted anywhere else except right now, and then we'll get into the show. All money line. Malloy. Popo. Hold on. What's happening here? Malloy. Popo. Ruben Aguiar. Auntie Ruiz. Saul Sanchez. Kevin Anton. Chop Chop. Brian Flores. I have action on this. I put a little honey on it. If you throw 100 on it now, just so you know, 100 gets your money back plus 1,666. This is my JSB live stream moonshot parlay. Would you call plus 1,600 moonshot? That's my action. Now you have it, and we can move on. There you go. I'm going to start doing this more and more as we approach fight weekend, doing a sort of longer moonshot parlay only on the live stream. If it hits, we got the video to clip it. And if you don't see it, you didn't watch the videos. My goal is to get more people watching our live streams. August will be 1 year of live streaming. When I first started, we had like 5 people on. Then we've watched it continuously grow. half hour from now, we'll have about 50 to 60 people on, which is great. And I'm happy with our growth. And, you know, like I always talk about, I'm in this for the long haul. So I can't wait to see what our community looks like in 5 years, right? With the knowledge and the support and all that good stuff. So so 5 minutes in, you guys have my moonshot parlay plus 1,600. $100 gets me 1,600 back. As you're tapping in, like this video. We have a lot to talk about, and I'm going to get to the chat right now. Mike from Melbourne. He says, what's up, Johnny? PFL, Evelyn versus Kisangane, Impa 2. We'll talk about that tomorrow. My boy Smooth, let's go. Salute my brother. Salute to you too. Young and Moonshot, shout out. Let's go. Let's go. We up. Adu, Spencer Ravel this morning was awesome to see. It wasn't no limit, though. It wasn't no limit. It was, I recorded... It was the guys who run, I think, I don't want to get this wrong. It wasn't No Limit who did the Welcome to Country, guys. It was Errol Spence gave an interview 6 months ago about the main reason he wanted to come to Australia was to see the indigenous communities, the Aboriginal communities. And the guys that the boxing guys behind, like I don't know if it's Mundine's guys, but Dana Colwell, Deadly Dana Colwell, the Aboriginal boxers. There's a promotional company. I forget what it's called. I don't think it's Wanderers. I don't think it was Ricky Colissimo, but it was. I know it wasn't No Limit. Team Pacheco, let's go. I agree. I'm excited to see Pacheco with Buddy. I'm excited to see. He's only 25. We'll get. Thank God somebody brought up the Diego. I did a live stream yesterday, over an hour. The live stream the other day, 90 minutes. We weren't even talking about Diego. You should watch my breakdown of Diego versus Aleem. Diego by decision. It seems like the popular pick. Let's look at those odds. Yeah, the money line is unplayable unless you're on Team Aleem, who cut his braids off. Shout out. He was standing at the face-off with Diego holding his hair. It was crazy. He had his braids in his hair in his hand. I was like, what are you doing? Maybe it was symbolic. I think so. I am playing Pacheco to knock out Aleem. So I have the knockout. Wow, those odds went crazy, didn't they? So I took Pacheco by knockout earlier in the week, and I got that at, wow, look at that. Knockout and points, same price. Plus 150, it's down to plus 103. I don't know if I had anything to do with that. Who knows? I shared this with the boys on Monday. So I placed my bet 4 days ago. I got Diego by knockout at plus 150, which I really like, and I talk about it. Youngin, should I post the ticket? Yeah. Should I post the ticket in the Discord? Just sprinkle it on it. No. Well, if you post the ticket that I just went over, just say it's your ticket. You know what I'm saying? Because what I'm trying to do here is spread the wealth throughout our community. Not everybody, and look, I don't expect everybody to have if you don't have $7 a month, I understand. Or if you don't trust me enough to support me like that and become part of our Discord, I understand. But if you still tune into my daily live streams, you still support the cause. So whether you support me or not, my goal is over time is to figure out ways and systems to spread wealth everywhere. So, you know, the more I do just the live stream tickets, the more examples I'll have of like them hitting. We did like the Japanese dog was a live stream ticket we did 2 days ago. So I know everybody in the live stream got that right. And we got it right. And we were fortunate that we got the victory. So if you post in the Discord, just say it's your ticket. Don't give me credit for it. I want to keep this separate. But you do what you want, bro. What is Papo's path to victory? David Papo's path to victory. He's going to control range from the outside. He's going to use his jab. He's better with managing distance. He's just a better overall boxer. He could use the whole ring. Harlem Eubank will be sort of at his best the first 4 rounds. This is a small guy at 47. Harlem Eubank's 5'8". David Papo's listed at 6 feet tall. Liam Paro's listed at 5'8.5", and Papo had a significant height and reach advantage over Paro. We saw how much Paro struggled with that height and reach, and I put Liam Paro categories above Harlem Eubank as a boxer. I have David Poppo on points. I'm actually worried that Poppo might stop Harlem Eubank. I just think that he's just a better boxer. He punches harder than his record suggests. They do have a mutual opponent, a guy that Harlem Eubank kind of struggled with, not and a guy that David Poppo knocked out. So all in all, I'm actually more worried about Poppo stopping Eubank because I got Poppo on points rather than Eubank beating Poppo. Fat boy Slim. How do I find your bets in the? I don't post in the Discord. How do I find your bets in the Discord? Do you put them in the slips? Yeah, I don't post my bets in the Discord because what happens is I don't want to. I used to post in the Discord, and then we get people who are leeches because I put the paywall on YouTube and I put the paywall on Patreon. It's up to my moderators to see who kind of lingers in the Discord, who hasn't re-upped their $6 a month subscription, and I know who they are. There's only about, we put it this way, we have about 542 people in there. I think there's 18 people out of 542 that still need to pay, but I'm not going to put them on front. I kind of give them a month or two, and then I just kick them out without saying anything. So before I would just put my tickets in there and people would just share them on the internet and on Twitter. Now I put them, I know the JSB Insiders on YouTube and Patreon, they're part of our community. They're not trying to troll. We do get trolls in there though. Auntie Ruiz, full unit. Dude, 20. Yeah, I'm on Auntie Ruiz. Well, Auntie Ginny is a year older. One's 39, one's 38. Female fight. Auntie Ruiz has fought twice since their last fight. Auntie Ginny hasn't fought. Ruiz became a world champion. I thought Ruiz won the first fight. So I'm comfortable with Auntie Ruiz. And we got a little bit of a good run going with these female fights. Shout out to Barry Unboxing. Follow him on Twitter. He's a JSB Insider. I know he's traveling this week. Wherever you are in the world, man, stay safe. He does great prediction analysis and breakdowns of all the fights. But he has a good keen eye on the ladies as well. That long parlay at plus $100 paid $1,200. 100 pays 1,200. Why is that funny though? What's up, Dan? Why is that fun? Why are you laughing? That long parlay. I don't know. What book do you have, bro? Auntie Ruiz odds nosedived on bet. Let's look at. Okay, so when we shout out to Adu in the chat. You know what I'm saying? You boys know how to make money. Anybody look at this? We're here to make money. You know what I mean? We're not here to judge matchmaking or skill sets of matchups. It's like, oh, I have an eye for domestic level Japanese fights. Shout out to TJ Chilltown, and shout out to there's a kid on YouTube. One of my favorite YouTube channels. I used to follow this kid, boxing content creator. He was one of my favorites. He did the best in-depth breakdowns, and the stress got to him, and he quit. I get it. I understand. It can be stressful. Punch Perfect. Shout out to Punch Perfect. He had Japanese boxing and like Filipino boxing on lock. I loved his breakdowns. And some people have like I said, Barry Unboxing has the female, in my opinion, the female boxing on lock. TJ Chilltown, really keen eye on Japanese boxing. And it makes sense because TJ's friends with Punch Perfect. So that's what we do. We're looking for reads and we're building a community to where we know what Top Rank gives us. We know what Eye of the Tiger gives us. We know what to look for with the female fights. We know what to look for with the Japanese domestic fights. You guys by now should know Japanese domestic fighters are going to fight in the pocket. There's a high risk for knockouts. These guys don't have a lot of head movement. You should know that by now if I'm doing my job properly. My goal is always to educate first. I'm a teacher first. Educate on the greatest sport on earth and teach you guys strategies that I use to win consistently. So the odds dropping on Auntie Ruiz, why I said all that was because we have a group who knows that we make money consistently on female boxing. When I put my bet in on Auntie, she was at, I don't think she's moved that much. She was at plus 115. My book doesn't have her moving that much, actually. Money has actually come in, like, if anything, money has actually come in on Ginny. So if I would have waited, because I got Auntie Ruiz at plus 115 2 days ago. She's at plus 118 now. So 3 cents have come in on her. The line looks split. If you look here on the right of the screen, right here, that's the line. That shows you the throughout the week the fluctuation of money coming in and money coming out. And it's been pretty even. I mean, it doesn't get more even than that, does it? I love that clip you posted with Spence Salute. What do you think about him at 160? I remember Floyd said he should have been at 160 years ago. Yeah. The issue is, yeah. So appreciate you, John, tapping into the content. I do my best. I'm constantly thinking on a daily basis how I could become more well-rounded with spreading content because I built my channel not on betting. The betting is only a year in. I built my channel, my following from boxing. And so he's referring to a short I did. Errol landed at the Sydney International Airport a couple hours ago. They did the Aboriginal community met him doing a welcome to country ceremony with the smoke ceremony. Very cool if you've never seen it. He did request Team Spence. It broke to yesterday. The Team Spence requested the fight just an extra 2 pounds. So it wasn't at 154. It got signed for 158. I think the fight's at 160 now. Usually, when a fighter, usually this is just historically coming from a fighter's perspective, whenever said camp requests a weight fluctuation indifferent to the contractual signed weight, it's generally because their fighter has something going on making the weight. And you might say it's only 2 pounds. Just to let you know, during weight cutting, if you've never weight cut before, those last 2 pounds are the most brutal to cut. So I don't know what it means. It doesn't change my outlook. It doesn't change my prediction. I think Tim handles Errol convincingly. I think this is actually, with all the variables laid out that we've been speaking about, I don't think Errol should be boxing again. Like I'm a fan of Errol as a boxer, but I think at this 36 years old, with everything that we know about his career, how it's turned out, I don't want to see the guy taking one more headshot. He takes his style. He's taken a beating throughout his career, even in his wins. It wasn't just a butt fight. Only for the boys in the live. That's what we do. Let's go. Papo TKO, Zoo TKO, Charlo TKO. That's what I'm thinking, man. And I'm kind of, because I do have action Papo on points, but I see a world where Papo could stop him. Or am I sure? Or did I? Maybe I didn't. Give me a second. Yeah, I did a double. I did a double with Papo on points and then Cruz by knockout at plus 364. I could see a world where Papo stops him, turns on the gas. Harlem Eubank fades. It's a 12-rounder. Because we saw in spurts whenever Papo had Liam Paro backing up, that's where he impressed me the most, was sort of his aggression. So you don't let that low knockout to win ratio fool you. He's had good win. He's been in there with good guys too. Excited to see Jan Santana, Andy Cruz, Anthony Cuba. Guys, this Pro Box card is awesome. And so I feel give your wherever you are in the world, give your sports book, your betting app, give it a day or so, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna get all these fights. I just want to show you the card. So this is the Pro Box card, guys. This card is stacked. Anton versus Hernandez. Hernandez is 37 now. You know, we broke this fight down. I like Anton in that fight. Aguiar versus Wiggins. Wiggins is 36 now. So you're seeing the matchmaking. They're not necessarily feeder fights, but the A sides do have a sort of stylistic advantage based on, Anton, tall, rangy for the division, high knockout to win ratio, long, going up against Vlad Hernandez. Aguiar the same, going against an old. I mean, Vlad's 37, Wiggins is 36. You got Auntie Ruiz, A side here. She's the champ. This is a rematch against Ginny. Ginny won a close split decision in their first fight. Just look at the career rounds disparity here as well. Auntie Cruz is 18-1-1. Ginny Fuchs is 4-0. You know what I'm saying? And Auntie Ginny's 39. She's a year older than Adelaide, and Auntie Ginny hasn't fought in 2 years. Keep that in mind. That's why I like Auntie Ruiz at plus money. Charlie Suarez, last time we saw him, Emmanuel Navarrete fight, we know the controversy. We won money on Navarrete, but ethically, when you look back on how that ended with the controversy with it being called an elbow or a headbutt, if I remember, but it was actually a punch, the outcome should have been a TKO victory for Charlie Suarez. It didn't go his way. Suarez is now 37 years old. Keep that in mind going against Manny Avila. But he doesn't have a lot of tread for 37. We know about his Olympic background, Filipino Olympian. I saw him in Australia when he came and, come from behind victory over Paul Fleming. This was a younger Paul Fleming, too. I think Paulie was undefeated, too, at the time. Very slick fighter. And Suarez basically grabbed victory from the clutches of defeat, as they say. Jan Marcos, fun fighter, 15-0, a guy to keep an eye on. Guido Schramm, we covered him on the channel 2 fights ago, a fight in which he got stopped. Brian Flores versus Navarro. I like Flores. You guys should recognize both guys. Navarro came down to Australia to fight Liam Paro a couple fights ago. Cuba versus Urias. I don't get odds on. I'm not getting odds on any of these other lower fights. But I assume we'll wake up probably tomorrow or the next day with odds on Cuba. I'm interested to see what these odds are going to be, Cuba versus Michel Cabrera. Because on paper, it's a close fight. Cabrera, almost double the pro experience. I'm interested to see where those odds are. I like Cuba. I mean, you guys will know Cuba. He, probably his most famous fight was the unanimous decision loss to Kermel Moten. I think it was maybe Moten's 4th fight, Cuba's 6th or 7th fight a couple years ago. Fun firefight. Lost the unanimous decision. It was a close fight. It was one of those very close fights. Cuba really wasn't winning rounds. Who else is on this undercard? But, dude, this Pro Box card, man, I'm excited about that. So that's something to look forward to. Your books will probably have like 4 fights on it, but keep an eye on it. Do our YouTube subscriptions automatically renew, or do we need to manually if we do it every 20 days? Look, I don't know, bro. This is something that is out of my control. YouTube, I could tell you're subscribed because I could see the star next to your name. The stars next to your name tell me that you're subscribed. And this is how I know some of the boys in our Discord who comment on our live stream, they're not subscribed anymore. So I'm gonna wait till it's an honor system. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to, we're building a community based off of give and take, reciprocity. But YouTube doesn't give me the power to control anything except ask you to subscribe and support me. I don't have info on your bank accounts. I don't have info on. I get your email. They send me an email and it says, hey, this email signed up, but that's it. Jamie from Punch Perfect. Yeah, he was great, man. What's up, Mags? He's back, the big fella. PJ, put 1K on that parlay. No. PJ, you're not putting 1K on that, and I'm not going to let you. No, $1,000? I put 100. Put 100. Just put all right, PJ. If you want to put 1,000 on it, just put 100, and then when it hits for 1,600, take the 600 out, and then with the 1,000, we'll double it. This is what I've helped other people do. Like, let's say you're like, in a perfect world, it hits. You get 1,600 in your betting account. Pull 600 out, put it in your bank account, and then with the 1,000, we play it safe and we look for plus 110s and we build from there. We turn the 1,000 into 2,000. We turn the 2,000 into 4,000. We turn the 4,000 into 8,000. Over time, it takes time. I built up. This was I think I told the story before. Doing college football in 2015 on a $10 bet. Throughout the season, I started with $10 and then I cashed out at $26,000. That was 2015. And then I told the story before. And then I paid my yearly rent for my strength gym. So I worked at a strength and conditioning gym to where we had to pay $440 a week for rent. And then we could run a business and charge whatever we wanted. So I took the $25,000 from Sportsbet and I paid my yearly rent. So then I got to build my business, my fitness business for the next year without the stress of having to worry about rent when a lot of PTs and strength coaches were struggling. So I do have experience doing that. It doesn't happen all the time. I can't promise you that, but that would be the goal. If ever you guys have a nice hit, always withdraw to buy yourself something, pay for something, but then leave a little bit of something in there to rebuild and regrow. They love Eddie. I can see Papa. Me too. I got the decision. Yeah. Yeah. So that's, and I think that for me personally, doing tape, watching both guys' careers, we're talking about David Papa and Harlem Eubank. That is my stress of this matchup. Isn't it look, nobody's 100% right. And Harlem Eubank could prove me wrong. And maybe he did at 32 years old add layers to his game that I didn't think he was capable of adding. And he goes and has a great fight. And I would just be like, kudos, I read that one wrong. But that isn't my stress for this fight. My worry isn't that Harlem is going to beat Popo. My worry is that I took Popo on points and that he stops Harlem. That's just what I'm seeing. Go on the internet, watch other content creators. I'm sure you'll get the opposite read. I know there has to be guys taking Harlem. There has to be. So that's just what I'm saying. And so, and if you like Harlem, plus 140, great odds. You don't have to get too sexy. Harlem on points, plus 220. But, and you can see the odds fluctuating here on the right. So the way my book has it, you're looking at the odds on the left, the breakdowns, the methods. But on the right, odd fluctuation is an interesting statistic because what it tells you over time from the times the odds opened, in this case, June 25th up until now, you could see the money coming in. You see how this diagram started in the lower left-hand corner and how it's just accelerated upwards. That's money coming in. And then when we went to see Auntie Ruiz versus Ginny Fucks, if you're spelling your last name Fuchs, I'm calling you and your name is Jenny Fucks. She probably got bullied. Jenny Fuchs. It was a straight line. So that tells you no money's coming in. It's just another betting perimeter to pay attention to. I'm not saying it's an end all and be all as a, to calibrate where you're putting your money at, but it just kind of shows you where money's coming in, where money's coming out. Because, look at that. So pay attention to here, that line. And now look at this line. And look at this line. You see? So it just kind of tells me that, either where the bettors on this one are still kind of like boots are dug. Have they? Shout out. I didn't know the props have dropped. Have any of you guys watched your tape on Kayman Ogarko? I have. I only bring this up because I want to get somebody else's opinion on this. And now look at these odds. So money line odds, Josh at 138, Josh at 128. So Josh opened at $1.38 last week, and money's coming in on him. So now he's at $1.28, meaning that Ogarko is even a bigger dog here. He's at a plus 310. You got to assume as we get closer to fight night, Kelly's one of these guys that bettors love to bet against. Let me say that again. There's certain boxers. Devin Haney's one of these guys. When historically, when you look at betting lines, Josh Kelly's a fighter who bettors love to bet against. It's just one of these guys. And then you have fighters like Conor McGregor, who bettors love to bet for. Errol Spence Jr., bettors love to bet for. There's just certain guys. I remember Bud Crawford. We looked at the lines like 3 weeks ago. Going into the Amir Khan fight, Bud was the underdog. There. So that being said, if you like Kelly here on the money line at one, when we did our monthly or our quarterly parlay 3 weeks ago, I got Kelly at $1.38, which is a great parlay piece. $1.28 is still a good parlay piece. If you want to use Josh on the money line, and I highly suggest you do, I would start thinking about adding him now on the money line for your parlays, because as we get closer to fight week, which is coming, that $1.28 is probably going to sink down to maybe $1.20, $1.18, and Kelly on points at $1.46. Why like Agarco's tough? I mean, why not play plus 500 on a standalone half unit? You know what I'm saying? But we'll get into that. We got time. We got time. I mean, it's crazy that we got Kelly at plus 110 to knock out Flavio Bea. So this is what I meant. A couple, not this October, but the October before, Josh fought a guy named Flavio Bea. I think Flavio might have been like 28-0 at the time, 28-1. I do too many, maybe undefeated. And for Josh to win by knockout, it was plus money. And we smashed it. We hit. And it was just one of those things. People, the reason why we were getting Kelly at plus money is because people were actually bidding. Money was coming in on Flavio Bea to beat him. So then that changes and makes every side of Kelly fluctuate. Ammo versus Vito. Look, I've been hard on Ammo in the past. Call him an athlete and not a boxer. And then watching is, even though he got the brakes beaten off of him, the thing was, he was landing some good clean shots on Bronco Adames, but Adames wouldn't be denied that night. And Adames is world class. And we've been winning money on Carlos Adames for years now, right? Actually, we got robbed because he beat up Shiraz and they called that a draw. And my book voided that. But that being said, Ammo got hit a lot. He was getting hit clean. He was getting hit a lot. Adames really taught him a lesson. If Ammo was any lesser of a guy, I would say that fight might take a lot out of him and he wouldn't learn. Ammo seems like a guy to me who is down to learn. Because even though he doesn't win every fight, I do see him adding different levels to his game. Even though I picked him to lose against Carlos, which it went exactly how we thought, I left thinking, I was like, you know what? Ammo's a little, I'm going to give Ammo some credit. Even though he got beat up and we won money betting against him, he is a little bit better than I thought he would be. He did grow a little bit. I fully expect him to grow from that performance. If he grows from that ass beating that Adames gave him, he should handle Melnicki convincingly. Now, if he degrades from that, because I think Ammo is, 30? Guys, you're in good hands. Just so you know, off jump, I got it all up here. So Ammo is 30, and it's not old. He's in his physical prime, but he does get hit a lot. Now, I can't sit here and tell you that I know the answer to that. All I'm saying is, if Ammo hasn't degraded from his from that fight, he beats Vito. I really think he does. I don't rate Vito Melnicki that high. Vito has shown that he is getting a little bit better and better, but I think a kid like Ammo, I think he has the taste, that level. I think I'm expecting him to believe that he can do what he wants to do. I don't know what the odds are yet. I mean, 177 is great. I like Ammo here. This would be the first time that I bet on him to win. And this goes to show you that there's no loyalty. I don't have favorites. I don't fight. I'll never bet against any fighter because I don't like them. I've never picked Ammo to win a fight in the last 2 years. I've always been, and it's gone our way. if he even adds a half a level from what we saw against Adames, he moved his head a little bit more. He was being a little bit more slick on defense. His punch play, even when he was getting hurt late, he was still in the fight. He was just getting hit so much. Melnicki's not that dude. Vito is not Adames at all. I don't care what his handlers will tell you. I don't care what Vito's pops will tell you about him. Vito's not that guy. I'm not going to say he's been totally manufactured. Austin Williams has been given nothing. Austin Williams has been in wars, tough fights, tough matchmaking, came into the game late, didn't get handed anything. I like Austin at 77% here. That's a bet. That's a ticket that I would go heavy on and just watch it on the money line. You put a G on Austin to beat Melnicki, you get 700 $700 back, that sort of thing. Or it's a great double. If you're $100, you put Austin on the money line and then find another $1.40, and now we're doubling our money. And then we take that and we double that. It's just like flipping houses. We're out here flipping houses. We're in the real estate business, really. What's up, Kyle? Well, that's our guy right here, Kyle Hayden, sniper. It's good to see same. It is good to see Charlie back. Charlie, the fight fans know how good Charlie Suarez is. Whenever you see a fight end the way Suarez's last fight ended against Navarrete, from a betting perspective, and I'm speaking from a personal perspective here, because that fight cleared like 4 tickets for me. It capped off a beautiful fight weekend. We hit everything. Because of all that, ethically, it's impossible for me to bring up the fact that you got to feel bad for Suarez with when you see the slow motion, it was a punch. That was a punch. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look at Charlie Suarez and Emmanuel Navarrete. I think it happened in the 6th round. And Navarrete was up. I think I had him up 3-1 after 4. Going into the 5th, I had him up 3-1. I gave the 5th to Charlie, and Charlie was coming on. Now, granted, this was pre-nutritionist Navarrete. Since that fight, Navarrete has hired a nutritionist. He's had a couple fights then, most recently the amazing performance in which we got him at plus money against Sugar Nunes, and he beat the dog piss out of Sugar. How fun is this game that we get to do, by the way? This is why we win consistently, because we watch every single fight every week throughout the entire year, and as fighters fight again, we know what they just look like. We know the matchups. We know the styles. Dude, if it wasn't for Suarez, probably we would have never got Navarrete a plus money against Sugar Nunes. That being said, no one wants to fight Suarez. People saw how good he is. No one. Tough to get fights. It's good to see him back there. I think this is for like a interim, maybe a vacant international sort of thing. So I'll be. He's hard not to cheer for as well. Just sucks we get Pro Box and Matchroom cards at the same time. Well, you got to get the multiple screens. You know how we'll have the laptop here, we'll have the tablet here, we'll have the big screen here. You know how it goes, Adu. I think Anthony Cuba may have late noticing it's Mountain too. Yeah, Cuba, was it? I mean, he was what, a 11-1 dog? And the judges weren't friendly to him. It's not like when you look, like the history books will say, if you bring up Cuba versus Moten, I think it was what, a 6-rounder, 5-1 Moten. It'll say UD for Moten. But if you watch that fight, you would know that fight was much more competitive than the scorecard suggests. And I became a fan of Cuba that day. I think a lot of us did. And I think he's only 23. And he's been, I like how Pro Box has been moving him. And, he's mentally, he has that mental wiring. He's one of these guys that our Discord, every fight we DM him. So our group, we will DM fight. We'll get into most guys are sliding into girls' DMs and simping. Not us. We're sliding into fighters' DMs and be like, bro, how was camp? Yo, who'd you spar with? Yo, what do you think about these odds? Like, they got you as the dog. Like, how's the weight cut going, bro? Like, are the dogs barking? And then we're sharing those messages in our Discord. This is literally a tactic that our group uses. If you think I'm playing, Ask anybody with a star next to their name if I'm playing. And Cuba, I remember sharing an audio recording because I'm friends with him on Insta, and he looked great in his last fight. Still young though, so we want to see consistency in terms of every fight camp going good, every weight cut going good. I think he missed. Actually, I think he had to pull out of a fight after his last performance. Something happened in the weight cut. I don't know specifically. I have to look into it. It renews itself. At least that's what happens. Thank you for answering. Let's go. We balling out. PJ, I'm still waiting on that boxing content, bro. It renews if your payment goes through. What parlay are we speaking on? What's up, Best Way? I shared it earlier. Look, I started this live stream 40 minutes ago with the parlay, and I'll end it. I'm not posting it anywhere except here. It'll be saved forever on this live stream. It's kind of a long shot. You don't have to agree with me. It's an 8-leg money line parlay, pays plus 1,600. And I'll go over this at the end as well. This is he's already been a member. He just had to renew. So Kyle, if you guys are in the Discord, whenever there's fight streaming, and if you don't have if you don't have access to watch the fights, this is our local DJ. He's our local streamer. He's in our Discord, hooking us up, saving us thousands of dollars a year. Kyle Hayden, I wish we had an option on Discord to tip people because everybody in our group owes him a tip because he's saving us thousands of dollars because I don't have to pay $65 to watch a pay-per-view. Why? Because Kyle's streaming it. So going 75% of my pot on Zoo knockout. Heard how you talk about. That's in 2 weeks. I'll be at that fight. It's stressful, but I'll be there with you shoulder to shoulder, Fat Boy Slim. My boots will be dug in. I'll be there with you shoulder to shoulder. History's on our side. Stats are on our side. There's a lot. I'll keep talking about it more and more as well. Winner of Auntie Ruiz versus Papo fighters parlay is nice since they're both at minus 100. If you're greedy, add the winner between Malloy and... Look, I talked about this. I think Malloy is easy money here. Shout out to Bum Equipment in our Discord. I know he's taking Sean Noakes, but he watched the Rennie fight. So if you're in the Discord, you would know that, and I didn't want to put Bum, I didn't want to bring it up in the Discord. I wanted to talk about this on the live stream if somebody brought it up, and I'm glad you brought this up, Eddie, is that I'll bring the odds up first. When I taped Sean Noakes, I didn't like what I saw. On multiple levels. Kieran Malloy is a guy who has a good amateur background, Irish fighter, been paired decent enough up until this level. He's a 5'11" welterweight. Sean Noakes, on the other hand, he's a 31-year-old prospect. No amateur career. One of our boys in the Discord said that he's picking Sean Noakes because of how he looked against Rennie. So he goes back to watch the Matthew Rennie fight, which happened 2 years ago. Something I want to point out, though. I'll move this comment. Something I want to point out. So he fights Matthew Rennie 2024. Rennie was 14-0. Okay? And you're like, all right, that's a good record to have on your resume. He's 14-0. He beats him, and then he stops a guy who's 11-1. And then his last two fights to get him to the Malloy fight, a guy who's 6-38 and a guy who's 3-30. Let me show you who Matthew Rennie fought to get the Sean Noakes fight. So this is Sean Noakes. This isn't Sam Noakes. This isn't the kid who fought Abdullah. Okay. This is why you can't watch that tape. So he fights Sean Noakes. Sean was 8-0 at the time. He was 14-0. Look who Rennie was fighting. 13-64, 5-34, 5-8. And then if you click on Moorcroft, it'll say the same. What this is called is good old-fashioned British domestic manufacturing. You know what I mean? So Sean Oakes is a guy at 31 years old. He's in for it tough. I think the value on Malloy, based off of his amateur pedigree, his youthfulness, his size, his resume, I think we're getting him at 64% return. Yeah, 64. So right now, Malloy's 64%. Which, if you're looking for a double, I have a full unit double on the money line. I took Malloy, and then I took Ruben Aguiar. That doubles my money. This is if you want to just keep it basic and simple. If you want to just double your money, 2 fights, you just need both guys to win. Karen Malloy on the money line, Ruben Aguiar on the money line is doubling your money. I have live action on that. They got Andy Cruz at plus 135 by decision. I think that is value in my opinion. So what's up, producer? Montoya hasn't been stopped. He took this fight on short notice. And Andy Cruz, when you're looking at his most recent performances, I know he fell short against Raymond Morataya. Very close fight. I took Cruz on points to beat Morataya. He didn't get the decision. It would have been a massive weekend for us. I tell you guys all the time, I remember my losses more than my wins. I thought Cruz did. You know what? Shout out to Morataya. I think after that fight, a lot of us kind of undervalued how tough and how I didn't think Morataya had that much versatility to his game. I've watched him fight. He just elevated himself that night, and you love to see it, even though if your bank account doesn't love to see it because you picked against him. So, but before the Morataya fight, we heard rumors and whisperings that Bozy Ennis was getting Andy Cruz to sit down more on his shots, and we know about Andy Cruz's decision to go. He's a Southern Florida, Miami, Cuban guy to go to Philly. I love that. I talked about in my breakdown. Philly's not an easy town to assimilate to when you're coming from like the coast. It gets cold, it's gritty. Great boxing though. If you're a boxer, you want to elevate your game, go to Philly. And so when I see fighters do that, Jack Catterall did that. Catterall did that after the Arnold Barboza Jr. fight. Went to Philly, and then got a stoppage against. Forget who he stopped, but we took the stoppage in that following fight because of what we were seeing in sparring at the dungeon. So I think there's a reason Cruz is only $1.65 by stoppage. I think he's going to stop him. Montoya's up there. Montoya hasn't really looked great. Montoya took this fight on short notice. Montoya gets hit a lot. I think Cruz has something to prove coming off his first career loss. I think a knockout's going to put him right up there, back in the mix of big fights, world title fights. And I don't think losing a close split decision to Raymond Morataya is the definition of being fraud checked. That's something that needs to change in our sport. These clickbait social YouTube channels, you get a guy who loses a 50-50 fight in a world title fight, and then the next day they're doing a summary saying he got fraud checked. I'm like, have you ever thrown a punch before, mate? Have you ever thrown a punch before? So I'm not shocked with the odds. I'm also not against Cruz on points because we've seen Cruz turn it up and then back off. We've seen Cruz have guys hurt and then back off. We've seen Cruz play with his food. I'm just thinking at this stage of his career, if I'm Andy Cruz, the time for play is over. You're not the youngest. You're getting on a bit. You're not old yet, but, for your weight class, you're there. It's now or never. You got to start finishing these dudes. And he's good enough. It's not like he can't punch. It's a psychological decision. It's a choice. I think we're going to see a dominant performance by Cruz, whether it's an accumulative stoppage against the ropes or one of those gorgeous precision timing counters where he just, melts him. I do like Cruz by stoppage. Ruiz is not the dog anymore. T, hopefully you got in on that. Money Meats, what time it is? David Goliath, I hate the way do you? Well, look, we're not all going to like everything, are we? I like, he's one of my favorite, he has one of my favorite styles. I love the way Josh Kelly boxes. And I have my reasoning, though. I was always the smallest kid in the gym at the boxing gym as a kid, as a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old. And then by the time I quit boxing, then I go through puberty. I didn't go through puberty and I didn't grow into my physical stature until I was 17, 18 years old. So I had to learn how to box off the back foot. I had to learn how to box using the entire ring. I had to learn how to counter. I had to learn how to use my opponent's aggression against them. And so these were always some of like my Pernell Whitaker sort of fighters, defensive savants, shakurstevenson, Paul Spadafora, guys that were able to, use their quickness, their slickness, their fight IQ, use their strengths to hide their weaknesses. And Kelly does that masterfully. And you mix in Kelly's physicality and Kelly can punch. And and I've been watching Kelly since the amateurs, watching him, the 2016 Olympics, when he medaled. The fight against Ray Robinson Jr. in Philly was a really tough fight for him, and then all the way through his title run. So he's one of my favorite fighters to watch. But I understand why you wouldn't. Not every, and that's the beautiful part about our sport, though. There's so much nuance, And I always tell new clients. I have a new client. He's 21 years old. We had our second session, and he's like super fit Aussie bloke in the Navy, and he wants to learn how to box. So I'm teaching him at my private gym downstairs. And I was telling him the other day, I was like, boxing's complexity lies within its simplicity in terms of learning it. All we have are two fists. With that, when you think about the only tools in terms of scoring punches are two fists, and then you look at over time how many professional boxers and champions there have been with how many different styles, every fighter. That's the beautiful part about our sport. You take these two fists and you make it your own. You paint the canvas with whatever your body is telling you that you're good at or you're not good at. And Josh Kelly does that better than most people. Cheers, brother in Christ. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you, Newton fan. Nice. Love the well wishes. I love the support, the faith, all that good stuff. It's all connected, man. Adamas. Smash your eyes. I agree. Yo, Johnny, brother, I was looking at Aleem. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I think Pacheco. Yes, Aleem's good, man. Aleem is good. Aleem is good. Aleem's going to be in his wheelhouse. I don't think Aleem is as good as Mbili. I don't think Aleem is as good as Mbili. Aleem fights similar to Mbili. I don't think Lester Martinez is as good as we were told he was supposed to be in terms of being this puncher. Lester's gritty. Lester's durable. Lester's tough. Lester's committed, very determined. So it's tough. I love the coaching change Pacheco has recently made. I love him going from the Pacific Northwest, coming back to LA. I love the pairing with Buddy McGirt. I like what he's looked like in camp. I like what his body is turning into. At 25 years old, name me one other 168-pounder who has a better resume than Diego Pacheco. People hate 6'4", 79-inch reach, 25 years old, turned pro at 17, been in there with real guys. I think this is a kid who's learning to be confident. He's learning what he's really good at. You take that, you take this guy who's super young, who's already experienced, who's already overcome adversity, and you pair him up with a Hall of Fame coach, boxer like Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt's strengths as a coach is a guy who's able to see what he has in front of him and take the positives out and make those positives come out in the ring. And I'm totally expecting a leveling up of Pacheco. I'm excited to see it. I think when we look at Aleem's dog style on the front foot, wants to be in your grill, you better bring your lunch pail with you. You better put your hard hat on. I think Pacheco's sharpness, I think his uppercuts, I think we're going to see a stoppage. So I like Pacheco by knockout. That's if everything goes according to plan. Aleem's not one of these guys who wants it to go according to plan. I don't think he's on paper. They have him as a 10-1 dog. I think that's super disrespectful. I would say Aleem's probably a 4-1 dog, maybe 3-1. Pacheco still has to prove it to people. I mean, the kid still has like an 80% knockout to win ratio. He's knocked out real guys, man. And he just hasn't, we haven't seen it lately. I think, maybe Trevor McCumbee a little bit more tougher than people give him credit for. Maybe Kevin Saggio is a goddamn tank. Maybe he's better than people give him credit for. So he doesn't knock Saggio out. Saggio had never lost before. So he doesn't knock McCumbee out. McCumbee, we saw him, get stopped in a previous fight. But before that, this guy was, incredible kickboxing career, McCumbee, and then a boxing career. So, didn't fight the best of the guys. I'm trying to give Diego the benefit of the doubt here. But we have seen Diego with some great performances. As of late, you're kind of like, he looked a bit uninspired. So I like the coaching change. I think at 25 years old, it's the perfect time. And I heard him talk on boxingscene.com how, shout out to Benavidez Sr., how Benavidez Sr. didn't make it difficult for him to break his contract. He still had one more fight on the contract with him as a coach. He allowed him to leave. He allowed him to get out of that deal, and he wished him well. And so what does that tell you? He leaves. He closes that story, that chapter, without burning any bridges. There's no psychological turmoil there. There's no trauma from him exiting. He's coming with a refresh start, and you get dropped right into Buddy McGirt. I think that's a good thing. I was saying it in the fight against Saggio. I was like, it looks like he's leveled off. When you look at a guy who has that many, dude, he could punch from outside. His uppercuts are good. He's a dog. He wants to be on the inside. I'm talking Pacheco. And then you're watching his most recent performances, and he's looking a little flat. Like his motivation, that tells me that he's disinterested. That doesn't tell me it's a skill thing. That tells me it's a psychological thing. All right, how do we fix that? Well, sometimes a change of scenery is great. Sometimes a coaching change is great. And so that's the way I'm seeing it. Do you think Kelly stops coming or Gargo? Gargo's tough. I don't know yet. Kelly gonna have a lot of confidence and hits people flush. Kelly's timing is impressive. He could punch too, and he throws punches at angles where guys don't see them coming. And this is another lesson I was teaching to the new young buck client of mine, is that when guys get knocked out, it's not necessarily the case that it was a hard punch. Usually in boxing, it's because it was a punch they didn't see coming. Either they got out angled, or they feinted, or they bit on something, or they were too slow to react. And Kelly does all that really good. Emma will be too much for Vito. Vito hasn't fought anyone. I agree. Yo, Youngin, I need some moonshot action. The boys know about Youngin. Youngin's a local hero in our Discord. I don't think Ammo needs to improve to beat Malnicki. Just put pressure. Fight the way you fight. Take that dub. I agree with you, Dave. Excuse me, I gotta sneeze. Like from a fan of the sport, I always like moments for me after a fight in which I bet against a guy and I was right, but I left liking the fighter more. That's not always the case. Usually we bet against a guy, we're right, and we turn the page. Add him to the fade list. Or if you bet against him that fight, he's already been on your fade list. It's very rare where you bet against a guy and you were right and you like him more. That's how I feel with Ammo. Because, the last few fights, the Shiraz, I wasn't seeing what a lot of people were seeing when they were picking him to win. And I guess it's another great attribute about our sport is sometimes through adversity, you really see who a guy is. Austin Williams is all blood and guts, man. And I guess this is what his fans, why going into every fight, they expected him to beat Shiraz. They expected him to beat Adames because they already knew that about him. As a better of the sport and a fan of the sport, he had to prove that to me. And through that beatdown against Carlos, I was like, damn, dude, this kid is tough, man. You know, he's very brave in there. In that style, although it doesn't go well against a seasoned, primed world champion like Adames. Adames is a guy that was built and raised for what he's doing to be a world champion. You know, go on YouTube and find that sparring footage from 2017 when Adames was fighting at welterweight and he was sparring Terence Crawford. And there's moments in the exchanges where you're like, who's who? You're like, you can't split the two. They're like matched perfectly. You're like, who the hell? And that was Carlos and Adames, you know, great amateur. For a kid like Ammo who gets into the sport late, who strives off of his athleticism and strives off of his blood and guts, that is a stylistic nightmare to go up against a seasoned, built for the sport sort of Adames style. Adames already knows who he is. Ammo's still kind of figuring that out. That being said, I think Ammo's going to be way better for it. And I think there's a lot of guys in the division that Ammo will be able to break with his style. And I think Melnicki's one of those guys. I would probably take Ammo to stop Melnicki based off of what we're saying. Because I don't know if does Vito have does Vito have the arsenal and the artillery to keep Ammo off of him? Does he have the power to get Ammo's respect? And is he durable? Because we really haven't seen Vito tested. I still have a bad taste in my mouth from that bullshit ass Top Rank card a year and a half ago in New Jersey, where Vito Melnicki's father promoted it, and they called it a Top Rank card, and they built the whole card around Vito, and the ring was the size of a phone booth, and Vito couldn't knock the dude out. It was it went to a 10-round decision against, I think, some European kid. I know he's looked better since. Guys, we're an hour in. There's 75 in here. Could you like the video? Let me know what you want. Ammo is low key still. I think so too. I think I'm gonna jump on that now too. Then Eddie, 77% is. I mean, what's your book saying? Ammo definitely will have learned from previous. He definitely relentless. Yeah, all right. I'm glad I'm not being. I work my ass off not to be delusional. And if I ever do come off delusional, you guys let me know. I'm glad that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing with Ammo. The kid's battle tested. There's some like the longer you're in the sport, the more we learn to respect that. You know what I mean? When you see a kid, like he never gave up on himself. There were times against Adames where it was getting hard to watch. But then every time you thought that it should have been stopped, he would throw back. And then the Adames betters for me, maybe it was just me. Then I'm on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God, is Ammo going to stop him? Like even though it was such a wide ass beating, it always felt to me that Ammo was still in the fight. I think that's what I left most impressed with. And that goes to show you that he has no problem being the nail. You can't say that for every fighter. You know what I mean? We've seen example after example at the highest level when guys are used to being the front runner. The minute they start falling back in a fight, they disappear and they cower and they evaporate. You don't see it all the time when a guy is getting sort of blown out skill-wise, but they're still in the fight due to the determination. And that's how I felt with Ammo versus Adames, and that's why I left, way more respect for him. Johnny, how do you like RJ Harris versus Hines? I've been trying to do some MMA sniping. I like him to be a better striker. All right, so we're talking UFC now. Because we don't have boxing on until Sunday, so it's Thursday, 11:15 a.m., I'm going to do, on my live stream tomorrow, I'll cover half MMA and half UFC because I got to get into it. But we're over an hour into this stream, and I don't want to sell you short on my take here. Ask me tomorrow. Cuba cracked Carmelo on that bout. Carmelo, no. And do you remember after that fight, Mike, how there were two narratives after that fight? Who the hell is Anthony Cuba? Holy shit, I can't wait to see he fights again. And Carmel Martin gets hit too much. And, I'm not... The first one was true. Ever since Cuba fought Carmel, I've watched, and shout out to ProBox, they featured him. But my point was, Carmel, that's just who Carmel is. He's a teenager, and he's just at that young age just wants a dogfight. Sometimes guys that young who are that good, they do get hit with shots that they don't need to take. I still say that about Benavidez. I still say that about David. I still say that David takes shots that he shouldn't take. And that was and that was a big knock on Josh when Josh was coming out of the Olympics. A knock on Kelly was he would take shots that he should. When you're that good, when you're that skilled, you shouldn't be taking clean shots based off of you either having your hands down or being in a bad position because you want to give so much. It can't just be all give, give, give. You're gonna have to take every now and then. And when you take, you want to be defensively responsible because as you raise levels and you age in the game, you're gonna run up against a guy who at one time that punch doesn't do anything. You think you could just take it, and then who knows? Maybe that punch is the one that cracks the egg. And we don't want to see that with our champions. Like Benavidez going up from 68 to light heavyweight to cruiser. He was shoe shining the kid from Britain. He stopped him, Anthony Yard. I was getting stressed out for him. Yard, even though he steamrolled Yard, but Benavidez is standing in front of Anthony Yard with his hands down. Do you remember? Was it Gavril? The Gavril fight when he was fighting at 68. He was young. I think that was 2017 when he got dropped. So Kermel, it's in him, but that's what makes him brave. Think about Neo Inoue. Think about Bam Rodriguez. Bam was getting hit a lot against Vargas. Bam was getting hit a lot against Antonio Vargas. And Vargas looked very... It wasn't like Vargas was giving Bam any like state-of-the-art looks. It wasn't like Vargas was giving Bam looks he had never seen. Vargas was standing there flat-footed, just right in the pocket, just punching with him. I felt like he was, we know how that ended. It took Bam, 5.5 rounds. I was 14 seconds away from hitting the over. That prop will haunt me probably for another year. I took Bam in the over 5.5, and we needed that prop to go into the 6th round, 1:29, and it got stopped in the 6th round, 1:44. The solution, appreciate you. Check out Finley James B Facility in the Amateurs 2020. He's on the mid. Oh, guys, is this the Misfits card? Okay, so we're getting a Misfits card. Finley James, he beat Facility. I don't know who these guys are. So GK, I got to do my homework. If you say so, I'll listen to you. They're on my book now. It looks like a 50-50 fight. I don't know who Jake Henty is, but ask me tomorrow. Yeah, the chat's heating up. Aguilar versus Wiggins. What's up, Power Kennel? Power Kennel now, CEO. Let me know, Anton. Anton. I got Anton in this fight. Aguilar Wiggins. I got Aguilar in statistically speaking, in terms of Trayshawn not having a fight in a few years, Trayshawn being 36 years old, and Aguilar's style, aggressive, heavy puncher. If I'm getting a prop on it, I mean, Aguilar on the money line is a decent parlay piece at 32%, but where the careers are and how they're trending, maybe an Aguilar knockout prop if you're getting it. Yeah, 32% is decent. Yeah, I'm not getting props on this. So I 100% like Aguilar. I have action on him on the money line with a double parlay. And if props open tomorrow, I'll let you know. Charles Harris. I don't know if I'm getting this. Are we getting this fight? Ask me tomorrow. It's not on my books. What makes you say Andy Cruz gets the knockout? I thought I covered that, but I'll get into it in a second. CEO in the house with all the questions. I covered these. You got CEO, Power Kennel. Check my tickets. I gave you. I got Auntie Ruiz. Delgado 2 versus Bashi. I'll get into it tomorrow. I'm going to private message you about me coming to train with you. Let's do it, man. Of course it's okay, brother. Of course it's okay. You'd be my third Assyrian client. So I'm well educated on the history. Molly, Ruben, Auntie Maria. Molly. What's up, Smooth? Okay. You guys are getting more fights than I'm getting right now. Oh, Malloy. I like it, bro. Malloy. Okay. Now I'm up to speed. Malloy, Ruben, yeah, plus 300. I like it. And we don't have to get too greedy. In overtime, look, it's always fun to hit plus 1,000 parlays and then share them with the boys and we look brilliant. But our bread and butter, if you're new to the JSB community, my bread and butter is doubling your money consistently. So what I'm looking to do every week is find us a ticket. Sometimes it takes us one fight, our dog, or sometimes it takes us 2 fights or 3 fights, but to find us our ticket that will at least double our money. You know what I mean? And so depending where your bankroll is, if you just take Malloy and Ruben, you're already doubling your money. So what I've done on Smooth's ticket here is I have all 3 that he's saying, but I have them broken up in 2 tickets. I have Malloy and Ruben on one ticket playing plus 110, and I have Auntie Ruiz on the another ticket playing plus 110. Why do I do that? Because historically I've been burned in the past. Over time, the longer you bet, you know you're not going to win everything. So let's say Ruben loses, I lose this ticket, but Auntie wins, I win this ticket. So strategically speaking, what I try to do is mitigate opportunities of loss and enhance opportunities of winning, because nothing hurts more than losing a 3-leg multi when you have 2 favorites and an underdog, and the underdog wins, and one of your favorites loses, and you have nothing to show in your bankroll for that underdog who wins. So this is why every week you guys get my dog of the week, because I've learned not to get greedy on it, but I hopefully all 3 hit. I have action on all 3. But, if that was the only ticket and one of them lost, my opportunity of getting a dub has been diminished. What's up, Eric? Yo, Johnny, always appreciate you, man. We up. Haven't seen you in the stream. You see the new shirts? We up. Yeah, player. What's up, cowboy? How much did the Adamas fight take? We got to ask that. We won't know. We won't know. It's a good question. Power kettle. His style suggests he does. We're talking Albert Gonzalez here. Chop chop. He is a Robert Garcia kid. Great body puncher. Fun prospect. Marketable. Says all the right things. Fun style. Determined style. Will fight for your money. I'm not getting props on it. I generally take chop chop. He fought my boy Dana Colwell. He dropped Dana. Dana hasn't had any easy fights. Dana has fought Shushu carrying. Dana fought Shushu and Chop Chop back to back, which is crazy. He's getting ready for another fight. Dana had a kid last October. I just talked to him on Instagram. Shout out to Dana Colwell. But Chop Chop, he's always live for the knockout because of his style. He's still figuring out that sort of prospect to contender matchmaking. If the matchmaking is still kind of around the prospect level, I would play the knockout. Youngin. See, JSB against the world member for 5 months. Appreciate you, brother. I love how YouTube does this. I don't have any of that control. Blue Collar in the house. Blue Collar's tapping in almost 90 minutes in. He wants a Badillo fight. So shout out to Blue Collar. These fights go down in Japan. We have Iwata versus Badillo. This is next Monday in Australia. Well, this is Monday night in Australia, which will be Monday morning in America next week. So what I tend to do when we have fights broken up like this, and we know Diego fights the following day, I don't have any of these 3 fights on a parlay yet. I'm kind of waiting, buying my time to see what happens on Sunday. I have been interested in playing with the idea that Badillo might be live and Gonzalez might be live. We know how good Taraji is. We know Iwata. This is a fun, sneaky card. Diego Higa, make what you will of him. This guy, always in close fights. The draw, we've seen him get draws a lot. Masuda. So this is, I haven't, to answer your question, Blue, I haven't given the proper energy yet to play action on the Japanese card, but I will. I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm probably going to wait till Saturday. So ask me again. Guys, I got to run. Wherever you are in the world, I say thank you. Best community, hands down. Appreciate you, Blue. Best community, hands down. If you haven't already liked the video, what I'm going to do, if you're still on the live stream, I can't forget. I started this live stream with my Moonshot Parlay, and I'm going to end it with the Moonshot Parlay. In case you missed the beginning, I'll go over this at the very end. I'm not sharing this in the group. I'm not putting this on Patreon. I'm not putting it on the YouTube members only section. Only for the live streamers, okay? And this is, we did this earlier in the week with our Japanese dog, which hit. We hit Kajino at plus 170. I only put that in the YouTube live stream, and I'm gonna continue that. So it's a bit of a long shot. I know a lot of you guys don't like to put more than 4 or 5 legs on a parlay. This is like, I put $100 on this 8-legger, all money line. I'll go over it one more time and I'll add it up. So, and just so you know, it's plus 1,600. I'm going to give it to you one more time. I went over this at the beginning of the show. If you put 100 on here, you'll get 1,600 back. I'm taking Karen Malloy, David Papeau, Ruben Aguiar, Auntie Ruiz, Saul Sanchez, Kevin Anton, Chop Chop, and Brian Flores. $100 gets you 1,666. And on that note, wherever you are in the world, have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.